When we get into relationships, the reason why majority of them don't work out in this society today is because we choose toxicity over vulnerability. And what if I told you toxicity is really you fearing vulnerability? Meaning that the way we were taught about love through movies and through the dynamics we seen through our environment as children, through our parents and people around us, that we believe, make them chase me, or don't text back so quickly, or let's play some mind games. And in doing this, we wonder why we don't get the results that we want in relationship dynamics. And it's because we choose to avoid rather than enjoy. So in today's video, I want to share with you how to put down that facade to the point you're overprotecting yourself that's preventing you from allowing yourself true intimacy. And intimacy is into me you see, into you I see. When you put down that facade and stop fearing the outcome of what love brings to you, you will learn how to be truly confident in who you are and not worried about being rejected or not chosen, because at the end of the day, you are secure in the fact that you know damn well what the fuck you bring to the table. What is Gooch, beautiful beings? Welcome back, AwakenOnes, on another episode on Bracing Essential Series with your homegirl, Brittany Fontanez. On this channel, I am an energetic activator, here to assist you to see things you have yet to see and to awaken to your true essence of why you exist upon this planet. But if you want to know any more about me, all my information will be down in the description box below. The link to my website will be there, as well as to know the services I render, as in readings, as in healings, Reiki sessions. And I do have a healing course that helps you align all of your mind, the parts of who you are, your mind, your heart, your spirituality, in order to be in true alignment with who you are, to find your purpose upon this planet. So go check that out, as well as I do sell merch, and I'm going to start selling jewelry, which will be on the way, so stay tuned. But if you enjoy content just like this that assists you on your healing journey, please hit that like button, subscribe to this channel, and hit that notification button. And do not be afraid to share this information with people you feel may need it. Now, beautiful beings, let's get into toxicity. Means fearing vulnerability, and how to learn how to stop avoiding relationships and learn how to enjoy them. Now, I know a lot of people that watch my videos have an anxious attachment style. I've been studying this for far too long because I've had parents and I had people in my childhood that were very narcissistic. So I always had to feel like I had to prove myself. I always felt like I had to be the nice person. I had to create peace around me, knowing that there was inner war within me. So everyone who watches my videos, I know, may have an anxious attachment style, which means you fear abandonment, you fear not being chosen, you fear being cheated on, and all this kind of different things. You don't really feel secure within yourself. You might be attracting a lot of avoidant people. They were there in the beginning, it was great, but towards the middle of it, it's just like all of a sudden they started ghosting. They started running away, and it makes you feel inferior. It makes you feel like they're playing mind games. It makes you feel like you're not good enough. But on today's video, I want to share with you that even if you're anxious attachment, even if you're avoidant attached, what I want to share with you is that in those dynamics lies a lot of toxicity. Now, it doesn't matter what attachment style you have. A lot of us are regarding our relationship towards toxicity. We were taught this throughout civilization, to chase someone who doesn't want us, to prove ourselves, to overgive, to overextend. And it gets to a point where a lot of us lose hope when it comes to love. But I'm here to share with you that love that you seek is you. And when you feel like you're not getting that love from someone, what you're really grieving is that you have a lot of love to give. So it's not the love that you want from another person. It's the love that you want to give. But I want to share with you that even regardless of those attachments that you have, we all have a tendency to avoid connections and not really enjoy them in a way where our heart is really present within them. And it's because toxicity seems the easy route to go. I always say in most of our videos that we live in a world that doesn't help us thrive. It helps us survive. So we always focus on what is going to be instant gratification and what we feel like it's right for our well-being. But little do we know, sometimes those ways are not really healthy for our well-being. So meaning this particularly meaning in jobs, we overwork ourselves. We have to pay our bills. We don't prioritize people or things that really need our attention, or even including ourselves. So, as I share all this with you guys, the reason why I'm sharing this with you is because I want you to put down that facade. I want you to put down that mask. I want you to stop fearing how you really feel and what you feel, either avoidant or anxious, because regardless, all of us are toxic. Let's just be honest. We all have a shadow. We all have a higher self. We all have light. We all have darkness within us. We can't run away from this fact. So when we become aware of our own toxicity, we become aware of our potentiality and what makes us a unique individual within ourselves and within this planet. So today I want to share with you is that how to stop fearing vulnerability and stop choosing toxicity. Now, when we get into connections, a lot of us want to play these mind games. A lot of us don't want to really be our authentic self because we have an agenda. And here's the thing, even people who are the chaser do have an agenda too. Because when you try to prove yourself, like being the nice person, you're trying to manipulate that person into getting what you want. Odd, huh? And a person who's a runaway, a person who's very avoidant, wants to see if someone will chase them rather than being emotionally available. Now, that is all resorting to toxicity because we fear vulnerability. A person who is a chaser fears expressing what they really need and what they want to try to please someone else. So neglecting thyself. That's not authentic. And you're giving off a vibe of desperation and being inauthentic and feeling like you don't have a sense of self. Now, someone who is avoidant, that's always running away, they have this false sense of a God complex, pretending that they're confident when they're really insecure and don't have the capability of expressing how they really feel because they feel that when people get too close that they lose a sense of their independence. Now, all of this is because we fear vulnerability. And what vulnerability is expressing the truth of how we feel and how we think by knowing who we are. And a lot of us don't know who we are because we define our sense of self-worth based on another person, our job, the things we do, our family, or even the amount of money that we have. And that in of itself doesn't serve our higher self. Because when we leave this planet, we can't take none of those things with us. So it's very important to understand how to discover self. And that starts with mastering self-love. I'm going to leave a video up here on how to understand how to master self-love. And I feel it's very important to understand mastering self-love, either avoidant or anxious, or you feel like you have certain toxic patterns that keep coming through, same energy but different faces. So when you could master self-love, you can master feeling more secure within yourself. Now, I'm going to get a little personal. I've been going through this a lot, and not just in my current relationship, but in all relationships that I've ever been in all my life. I've always been the chaser. I've always overgave, and I have been avoidant at times. There are times where you could be two attachments all at one. But it gets to a point when I started to recognize how overgiving I am, how loving I am, how kind I am. And it brought a sense of not feeling secure within myself. So I started to recognize lately that finding a sense of security within yourself has to come from a place of understanding that who you are. Question, who are you? And if you don't know who you are, question, who do you want to be? Because majority of us don't know who we are because we don't ask ourselves these deep-rooted questions. And the deep-rooted question starts from, who have I been that's getting the results that I want, that I don't want? Who do I want to be? And what are the characteristics that I have to become and be in order to get the results that I want. And then recognize, when you ask yourself those questions, who am I really? And really sit with your mind, sit with your emotions, and sit with yourself. A lot of us have these times where we are in a fight with our ego. We're in a fight with our shadow self, meaning our mind is taking over our heart more than anything. And people believe that following the heart or following love is being blinded. But I'm going to tell you guys, my heart is my guide, as my ear is ringing right now. My heart is my guide. I always lead through my emotions. I always lead with my intuition. It's always gotten me everything that I've ever wanted. And because of being able to, whatever people see delusional, being delusional, meaning follow your heart, follow your imagination, following your inner truth or your inner compass is really the only way that you can get what you want out of a life. And I'm not saying to be so delusional that you don't take action. I'm saying being delusional to the point that you believe in yourself so much that you trust that every decision that you make is the best one for you. And that's where I want to help you guys get more secure within yourself when you are in relationships. So when you're in a relationship, don't choose the mind games. Don't mirror energy. Don't mirror that person's energy. If you feel you're not getting what you want, then either you got to recognize you got to take a step back, or you got to take a step forward. Meaning, if you're avoidant and if you're not getting the results that you want, you got to step forward and express what you want and not fear that emotional expression. If you're anxious and you feel like you're not getting what you want, you got to take a step back and recognize how you could bring your energy from your mind back into your body. Because anxious people are always in their minds, and their self-doubt and their insecurities come to the surface. When you could bring all that energy back into your body to the point you could feel your feet, you could feel your legs, you could feel your waistline, because most of us are operating from our lower chakras, which is the root, which is where our fear is, which is our sacral, which is our desires, but also could be overridden or blocked by shame. And then our solar plexus, where our confidence is, but could be blocked by guilt. So being rooted in these chakras mostly can make us very, very ungrounded. And it's very important to ground yourself and to ground all that energy from up here down here. And the way to become more secure when it comes to relationships is recognize, do you know who you are in this world? Because the thing is, what we want is what we need to be in order to receive. I'm going to say that again. In order to get what we want, we have to be in order to receive. And the same thing for manifestation. So when it comes to relationships, you not only have to have a sense of independence, you have to have a sense of self. You have to be secure the fact that regardless if this relationship is not what you want, regardless if this relationship is not working out the way that you want it to, what are other things that make you feel whole and complete within yourself? Now, for example, for me, doing these videos make me realize how much of an impact I have in this world and how much of service I love to be. And that's a huge responsibility. And that is disregarding everything outside of my life. This is who I am. Someone who has wisdom, but someone who has a sense of innocence, that enjoys life and is very optimistic regardless of what happens in my physical reality, And then I also do merch. I make jewelry. That gives me a sense of self because I'm going to be acting from a sense of service. I'm going to be giving to people who may need, what I'm creating. I meditate. I do yoga. This gives me a sense of being connected to a higher power that most people aren't connected to, but that makes me recognize how powerful I am and how I can co-create with this universe. That makes me secure within myself. And I also have family that I fucking adore, that I have a great time with, that make me recognize how lovable I am. And I have friends and new people I'm connected with currently that makes me realize like who I am is more than enough. So I'm finding a sense of being secure without needing a relationship, even though I am in one. So the way to find your security is like looking at your life like a table. You have 4 pillars that are holding up the table. And even though that one pillar could represent a relationship and it can collapse the table, you still have 3 other pillars. So when you can focus on those 3 other pillars, you can find a way to build that other pillar in order to build up your table again. So you have to recognize, in order to be secure, what do you bring to the table? And not just in relationships, what do you bring to the table for yourself? Because little do you know, what you're seeking in a relationship is what you're seeking within yourself and what you have within yourself. So how are you serving for yourself? What are you serving upon that table? And if you could bring that to yourself, then you could bring that into a relationship. And that's how you could recognize who you are. And that's how you could be secure in who you are, to the point that you don't care if a person abandons you. You don't care if a person cheats on you. You don't care if a person chooses another person over you. You don't care if a person ignores you. All you care about is that you were able to understand who you are, what you bring to the table, what you serve, and know that's more than enough. And if it's not enough for someone, then that means that someone doesn't deserve it. That means that someone's not meant for it. That just means, little do we know, that it's okay to be rejected and it's okay to reject. Because at the end of the day, it just means you two are meant to be. And that's okay. Because something better is always around the corner. I'm a huge believer in that. When something leaves my life or someone leaves my life, something better always replaces it. But this is not what I want you guys to think about, is thinking about something better or the grass is green on the other side. I want you to think about, no matter heartbreak, no matter the outcome, express the fuck out yourself. Take up space, create tension, how you feel, express that regardless of what the person says. What you're thinking, express that regardless of what the person says. Take action towards you want and not focus on what that other person is doing. Because when you could take action and become so obsessed with your life, hence because you love yourself so much, master self-love, watch that video after this. But when you can master self-love and you become so obsessed with your life, you become so secure within yourself that you're not worried about what that person's doing. You're not worried if they're texting back. You're not worried about if they're going to hurt you, because you know who you are. You know how lovable you know. You know how confident you are. You know how sexy you are. You know at the end of the day, you are more than enough. Because what you give to another person, you give to yourself. And that's how you become so secure, to the point that when these dynamics come into play and they gaslight you and they make you feel like you're not enough, or you fear connecting with someone because you think they're too emotionally open and you're too emotionally avoidant, and you're too fearful to approach that because you don't know how to approach it correctly, it does not matter. You have to recognize your own toxicity and not fear vulnerability. Because if you fear vulnerability, your toxicity is only going to repeat patterns that you do not want. So learn to enjoy your relationship by enjoying who you are as a person. Regardless if that person's feeling down and you're feeling up, don't lower yourself to match them. Keep being yourself because you inspire them. Don't mirror that person's energy if they're not giving you the attention that you want. Instead, still give yourself the attention, because you know damn well you're the best. And not the best as in you're better than everyone else, but you know you're a great option. You're a great person. You know have a lot to offer, but don't fear showing that side of your shadow where you got to stand up for yourself. Because little do we know, the ego could get us to a point that it could make us fear ourselves. It could make us be in a God complex. But the ego is really to help us stand up for ourselves, help us express our true self, when we could recognize how the ego gets corrupted with toxicity. So you can help your ego transform into vulnerability. So do not fear expressing yourself. Do not fear being secure within yourself. And if anything, when you're more secure within yourself, you could teach that anxious person or that avoidant person how to reflect on their actions and who they are as a person that is jeopardizing or sabotaging the good thing that is in front of them. So I know this video is an intertwining of anxious and avoidant attachment, but it all intertwines because it all is cycling through the reel of toxicity. But vulnerability is about being authentic in how you feel without the outcome, being authentic and expressing yourself regardless of the fear of intimacy that you have. Because if we want love, we have to take risk. And the risk is you may get your heart broken. You may not. But the thing is, the risk in that is expressing the fact that you are going after what you want. And always go after what you want, because your heart is always guiding you to receive everything that you want. But you have to recognize your toxicity in order to recognize what makes you unworthy of what you want. And when you could change toxicity into vulnerability, you could realize how worthy you are of everything that you want, which makes you feel inspired to go after everything that you want, regardless of the outcome. So the whole point of this video is don't expect people to change. Don't control people, but expect that regardless of the outcome, you're still good. You're still secure. Because you're so divinely confident in who you are, that who you are is more than enough. And what you have at your dinner table is the most delicious fucking shit that you could have, because you give that to yourself. So you know if you allow someone in, they are going to get the best. But if they're not willing to reciprocate that, you still feel secure within yourself, that you don't feel loneliness, because you have so much self-respect and self-love that you choose things out of respect rather than loneliness. So that is what I wanted to share with you guys, is how to be more secure within yourself and how to stop choosing toxicity to the point you fear vulnerability, and learn how to enjoy relationships rather than avoiding them. So you guys, I really hope that this video inspired you to not fear what your heart is guiding you to, but to open up your heart to the point you do not fear the outcome, because you know damn well you're good in who you are, because you feel at home with who you is. So other than that, beautiful beings, if you enjoy this video, if you got any inspiration, please let me know your feedback in the comment section below, the insight that you received through this video today. But also please hit that like button, subscribe to this channel, and share it with people that you feel may need to hear it. And please watch that How to Master Self-Love, because I really feel like it will assist you guys in learning how to feel more secure within yourself. But until then, go down in the description box below to see any services that I render that will assist you on your healing journey. But until then, you guys, I love you so much, and I'll see you on the next one. Only love.